Hello, I'm Kimberley Dondo, Digital Content Manager, and welcome to the In Conversation With series, a series where I speak to notable figures in the realm of financial services. Listen as they share their personal journeys, thoughts on the industry, and advice for aspiring advisors. Hello, and welcome to the Money Marketing Podcast. We are starting a new series, and with me today, I have Robyn Allen, who will introduce herself and tell us a bit more about herself. So if you can do that, Robyn, that would be great.
Oh my God, how do I introduce myself? So my name is Robyn Allen. I have worked in financial services for over half of my life at this point, which is mildly depressing as well as quite fulfilling.
Yeah.
I am a protection advisor, specialist, expert, whatever people want to say. I don't care. I love what I do. I have my own business, and I also do some voluntary bits as well, and spend a lot of time on social media. So that's kind of Robyn in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, I love that. So let's talk about the start. Let's go to the very beginning of your journey in financial services. What did that look like for you?
And this is going to sound like the beginning of a little story. So when I was 4 years old,
I love that. Let's start the journey.
I started so young because my dad was a bank manager and my stepmom was a bank manager as well. So I've been around bank branches literally since I was 4. He used to work for the Halifax, and I used to go in and borrow all of the alley cat stuff that they used to have, the money boxes or the toys. And I'd always thought that the people that worked in the bank, they were really sort of put together and respected members of the community, and the women that worked there especially were just awesome.
Yeah.
So I was very studious. I was very academic at school, but I decided to leave when I was 17, and I went for a couple of job interviews with a couple of banks, and Halifax were the only ones that would offer me a job.
Oh, well, I mean, also keeping it in the family, I guess.
Yeah, my dad's reaction when I rang and told him was a bit like, really? Because he had just retired the year before. He retired at the age of 50 and went into gardening. So he was like, I've just got out. You're going in? And I was like, yeah. And I'll be honest, I loved it. And having the banking background has given me such a great foundation, because I've worked kind of with all areas of people's lives and their finances. And I've worked as a cashier, so dealing with the money. I did some management. I did banking advising, so opening people's bank accounts, lending them money, sorting their home insurance. And then when I got my job as a financial consultant with them, and it was specifically the personal insurances, I loved it. I was like, I found my thing. I had an incredible boss called Helen, who was just awesome to work for. And then they made us all redundant.
Oh, that's not great.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It was like the rug just being completely pulled out from under you.
Yeah.
And I was Halifax. I loved my job. I worked 60-hour weeks quite happily a lot of the time, like working weekends, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And I started suffering from anxiety, could barely leave the house, was like, what has my life turned into? And your initial thought is, the financial services has hurt me, so I don't want to go back. I thought that was me and financial services done.
Yeah.
We had a really bad breakup.
Yeah, I can completely relate. I had a similar situation a few years ago. So yes.
Bad breakup, lots of TV and ice cream. And then I started working on myself, and I started figuring out who I was, not who I was based on my job and the life that created. It was all about me, to be selfish and self-centered. But it meant I found some time, and I realized I liked talking about insurance, and I was lucky enough to find the Open Work Partnership, as they're now known. They were Open Work at the time, and managed to somehow convince somebody that they could let me set up on my own and go for it on my own. And that was 6 and a bit years ago now.
Yeah.
And I've never looked back once, because I love the light bulb moments in financial services when someone gets it and when someone's like, oh, okay, I see how this will work in my life. And did I expect when I started my business 6 and a bit years ago to be where I am now? No, I kind of went, if it doesn't work out, I'll go get a job like everyone else.
Yeah.
But it's just an incredible industry to be in. And I think it needs to be more progressive, but I think we're moving in the right direction with so many things that only bigger and better things are going to come, and we're going to look after our clients even better.
Yeah. No, that sounds really, I don't know, inspiring. I like the fact that you kind of picked yourself up and you built something of your own. But I'm sure through doing that, you faced quite a lot of challenges, as well as probably like amazing highlights. So can you pick some out that stand out to you?
The challenges, I mean, the biggest one was dealing with anxiety. And I was a career person. I worked 100 miles an hour, and that was just my life. If they asked me to do something, I said yes. And overnight being told you've not got a job, go home, on gardening leave, suddenly it's literally like I ran into a brick wall. And I stopped. And the anxiety that came from that and the mental health struggles I had, I went from someone who was out on the road all the time talking to people, who just leaving my house was a stress. My symptoms were incredibly physical. So I would feel really unwell. So when you start a business, and yes, I had dealt with most of it. I had what I call graduated from counselling. I didn't feel the need to go anymore. But still, the first time I walked into a networking event, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just going to rock up and do my thing. And I still have that attitude now. But back then it was, I'm going to do my thing. But the inner voices are going, oh my God, what are you doing? Run away. Run away. You don't want to be here. But I was strong enough at that point to push through. Now the inner voices are tenfold for the positive, and the negative ones I can't even hear most of the time. But that's taken a lot of growth and a lot of being willing to be selfish. Because if you are not selfish with yourself, we say it all the time to our customers, you need to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before helping others. If you don't look after yourself, like, you can't look after anybody else. But I've really taken that into the core of my being. Like, I come first.
Right, of course.
Because if I don't, my clients don't get me. My team don't get me. The people I work with don't get me. My other half gets just a mess sat on the sofa in a dressing gown crying over a TV advert rather than someone that's bouncing around the house. So that was my biggest growth, I think, being able to not just say no, because a lot of people also go, oh, you don't say no very often. Actually, I do. Just because I don't publicize it, or I don't necessarily say it in the no kind of way, doesn't mean that's not what is happening.
No, I think it is quite important when you are probably establishing something that you're doing by yourself to be able to set your boundaries. I think that's something that a lot of people are talking about a lot, setting your boundaries in order to make yourself comfortable and encourage your growth. And I think I really love that. But is that something that has kind of helped you with your approach to clients when you're speaking to them about protection, that you're able to kind of relate to them in some way?
I mean, for me, I am me no matter where you find me. Whether I'm on a podcast like this, whether I'm at an event, whether I'm talking to a client, whether I'm talking to a friend, I am the exact same person. I don't have to put on a face or a facade. I don't have to go into work mode. I'm me. And I'm also incredibly open. I can't sit here and say, I don't think death should be a taboo subject, but not be willing to talk about everything. People ask me a question, I will answer honestly. And if I don't feel comfortable answering, I'll say, I don't want to answer. But what that means is that authenticity comes through when I am talking with clients. And especially nowadays, a lot of the time they've seen my videos on social media. They say, I feel like I know you already.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already quite relaxed because they know I'm open, I'm honest, I cut through the jargon. That's the don't use, isn't it? Jargon.
Yeah.
And I put it into their language. And that's what you need to do. If you're yourself at all times, it's not tiring what you do.
Right.
Because you're talking human to human.
Mm-hmm.
And
on a front.
Yeah. And you're just talking about them. Everybody, they always say, oh, the favorite subject of anybody is themselves. Is it their favorite? No. Is it the one they know most about? Probably. Because everybody does like to talk about themselves. So it's the questioning skills. And again, it's the skills that a lot of people do unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
It's the open and closed questioning at appropriate points in the process.
Right.
It's and I took this from my Halifax days. Tell me a time when, tell me more about that. Tell me. So it's less of a question, more of a carry on then.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of my colleagues, Amanda, was we did a end of month podcast with the whole editorial team, and she was talking about how she was doing a piece about soft skills, and I just kind of looked at her and I was like, well, what are those? And she was just saying, being able to speak to people and listen to people, and all of these working as a part of a team because you were doing team sports in school and stuff like that. And to me, I guess, as someone who has acquired soft skills, but not really ever thought of them as soft skills, I was kind of like, wow, okay. I didn't realize there was, a term for them, but they are definitely important.
Yeah, well, it's the same when you're learning anything in financial services. You've got soft facts and hard facts.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the hard ones, which are, this is how much they earn. This is how much the mortgage is. This is their date of birth. Then you've got the soft facts. These are the hobbies they like to do. This is the part of their lifestyle they like. They like to travel. These are the important soft facts that will help you when having a discussion to give it context. Open and closed questioning. Sometimes people don't understand the difference between open and closed, and the closed is the yes, no answer, and the open is something that requires more than one word.
Mm-hmm.
And then also how to go about getting that. Overcoming objections is a massive one in financial services. And you're taught it's like a horse race, and every objection you overcome, you've jumped another fence.
Right.
My approach has turned into, I'm going to knock the fences down before I even get there.
Right. Right.
If I can preempt what they're going to be concerned about because I've taken the time to get to know them and given it context, I can go, right, so this is what I'm showing you. Now, I understand this, and this might be a concern, but I've done this to make sure this is different to that, and and you can explain it before it becomes a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't give them an opportunity to throw a wall up.
Yeah, yeah. I think you always have a plan, a mission plan ahead of kind of talking to people. That is a very strong stance. With the current climate and the cost of living crisis, have you seen this be an effect on your conversations you're having with potential clients or clients that you already have?
It's been an interesting one because this topic is coming up a lot, and I always say I have a slightly different view. Being a protection only advisor, we have a very different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because people say, is it affecting people's decision making? And I go, well, I wouldn't know, because unless I've spoken to them pre cost of living crisis, I don't know if the decision they're making now is different.
Right.
So yeah, existing clients, yes, we've had a handful who have gone, we've been impacted. We need to alter some of our outgoings, and we work with them. But on the flip side, I've also had people who have been increasing cover because they've got larger mortgages. So it goes hand in hand. Is it a different conversation when I'm talking about things like indexation and inflation and the retail prices index? Yes, because I go, yeah, so if you think about what your electricity bill was and what it is now.
Yeah.
That's partly inflation. So in that, it's helping to explain, because people will now have a real life rather than us having to use the Freddo analogy of think about a Freddo and how much it costs when you were a kid and how much it costs now. That's
ridiculous.
Would do. Don't even get me started on Freddos. But we've now got a live example that people are understanding, because ironically, while some of the news outlets are scaremongering with lines, what it's actually doing for a lot of people is it's making them look at their finances more seriously. It means that they're taking the blinkers off. They are actually looking at the direct debits and going, right, let's really understand what's going on, which when you're giving financial advice is helpful, because you'll have a better understanding of, especially in what I do, the impact of if their income suddenly disappears.
Yeah. That's a scary thought to have, I think, for a lot of people.
But it's a scary reality to live, and people did live it a couple of years ago. I had a couple who, one was employed, one was self-employed.
Okay.
One business was closed down overnight and one was sent home. And for 2 days before all the schemes were announced, obviously the SEISS, the furlough scheme, they just thought, that's it, our income's just gone.
Good. Wow. I didn't even think about, I was thinking like 2008, recession. I was not thinking as recent, because it was, in my mind, it was quite quick, the furlough scheme happening. But for that couple, it must have seemed like everything was crashing down around them.
Even imagine just having 24 hours of thinking, that's it, your income is gone. You cannot pay your bills at the end of the month. Just the amount of stress you'd have in that 24 hours before they go, oh, by the way, we are helping. And at that point, it was like, this is incredible. This is awesome. What they did was life-saving to a lot of people financially.
Yeah.
But again, it was a reality check of, if I am ill or injured and I cannot work and my income goes,
then what?
It would have a massive impact.
Yeah. I mean, now you're making me consider myself, and I need to look at some of my protection stuff.
That's all right. We'll have a chat afterwards.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so before you also, you mentioned a little bit about your social media presence, and as an avid fan of TikTok myself, I have come across some of your posts, and I just want to know, as someone who works in financial services, which is probably stereotypically very, professional. Like I don't even know what that means, but suit and tie kind of, just very, I don't know, not very modern, I guess. How has that affected your clients' perception of you and your peers as well?
I will be the first to admit, when I worked in the bank, the stereotype was me.
Okay.
There was a time when we were told, do not put on social media that you work for a bank for fear of kidnap.
Right. Yes, I remember.
I worked for banks during that sort of era before it became quite not as prevalent. I had rules around social media based on the bank. And when I started my business, there was part of me still following those rules and still going, this must just be what you do in financial services. And I would dress a certain way. I still cut the mohawk in, because I never did it while I was at the bank. I had an undercut then that you could hide, but I was like, nah, come on. If I'm going to be more me, I have to go and do it. And then over the years, it was just gaining in confidence and going, this is just me. And to be fair, I think it started with pictures.
Right.
And one of my really good friends, Nick Freeman, he's an incredible photographer, and he can have some credit for this. I went to do my very first sets of headshots with him.
Right.
How many times have we looked at a picture of ourselves and gone, oh, like we just don't like it. We're like, no, I don't look like that. No, that's awful. He got some shots of me in motion while I was talking to him while he was shooting. And as much as you go, oh no, that's what I look like when I'm speaking to people, guys. Like that is just like, this is what everybody sees every day.
Yeah.
Nobody runs away from me screaming. Hold on, I need to get over that. So I got over that very quickly. And I was like, okay. So Nick now knows if he gets a picture of me mid-conversation and I am full on pulling a face, knows happily he can use that and he can post it. I'm not going to be worried about it. And he regularly does.
Yeah.
Images of me. There's plenty of me pulling a face or pointing at the camera and giving him a dirty look. But I think it started there and it gradually just became, let's do more my style. Let's do more the Robyn stuff. And it kind of crept up on me, I think. And then with the lockdowns, everybody's gone online. I need to be online. I need to do more on social media. So then my Friday shout out videos came in. That have been going for over 2 years now and still get an incredible response and I can never stop them. And thanks everybody. And I did more videos and I tried editing and I can edit very simply. And I was messing around with subtitles and then I found TikTok. I was like, hold on. I was having to shoot in different clips and then put them into iMovie and then make sure the joins were good. Whereas in TikTok, hold on, this is so much easier.
So easy.
And I can do it in a Robyn way and I can take the mic. I still have my boundaries with social media. I've realized they're mine now. I don't swear. I won't use a song that has swear words in it. That's just me. That does not mean I don't swear. But on a public platform, I won't because that is out there forever. I won't talk religion or politics. And it's just safer, let's be honest. Ask me about those offline, happily give an opinion. But online, no. Not going to do it. But then also it's things like I try, unless I'm being deliberate, I don't post anything ambiguous. Because we've all seen those posts where there's something there and you could take it one of two ways and one is a good way, one is a bad. I don't do that. I don't want to make anybody out there feel bad. I don't want someone to read my post and go, is this about me? Is oh my God, that's me. And everyone's saying it's off. But I don't want to create that feeling in someone. So emojis all the way. If you're making a joke, laughing emoji, please. But that's just the way I've done it and created it. And it's now a running joke. Everything I wear is red and black. I dyed my hair red. It's currently blonde, but it will go colours because I was like, everyone goes, why did you choose your company colours? And some people assume it was a great big corporate decision. I go, I like red and black.
It makes sense.
Because I'm me. I'm authentic. This is what I do. And because of this, my client, like I said earlier, my clients are already relaxed with me by the time I see them. Most of the time they found me on social media. Most of the time they've been watching my videos for quite a while before they've got the urge to kind of, oh, I'm going to actually send her a message now.
So you found responses from people who've watched your content, whether it's on LinkedIn or on TikTok, and they've actually reached out to you through that.
Because nobody can like everybody. Nobody can be the same for everyone. So there'll be people that watch my videos who are like, what the heck is she doing? That's not appropriate for financial services. And that's fine. That's all good. If they don't gel with that vibe, that's absolutely fine. But there's others that watch it that go, I thought financial services is a bit more boring. That looks a bit more interesting. I'm going to go and talk to her. Because that is the way I am. That is the same Robyn you're going to get. So it's horses for courses. It's everybody wants something different. So let me go and represent who I am. And if people feel like that represents who they are,
then you will work together well. I think that is a valid point because I feel like not using some of these tools, if you just look down on them and go, oh, that's for children and stuff. I'm forever having this battle where I'm trying to tell people, TikTok is not just for teenagers dancing. It is a plethora. There's a whole universe of things going on there. And
it's for 34-year-olds that are dancing. Like, it's all good. But yeah. I say it all the time. I follow Grandpa Joe or Granddad Joe, whatever his name is, on TikTok, who does TikToks with his granddaughter, Brooke. Love him. I also follow another one who's a nana, and she comes on and she's like, hello, darlings. And she gives them a life tip.
Yes, I think I've come across her, and she always tells you how you're perfect and beautiful. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, because some people don't have someone like her in their life. So she is it for them. I also watched a video this morning about a raccoon that had broken into someone's house and got into the dog food.
I saw that one too. I think our algorithms are similar.
On the same TikTok. I love it. This is the thing. People don't realise how incredible that algorithm is to get you onto the place that you are in the mood for.
Yeah.
Like, so quickly you're scrolling through and you're like, I'm just not vibing with this. And then you'll like a couple of videos. And next thing you know, your feed's full of videos that you really want to see.
Yeah.
So I've also noticed recently, though, that they have, I don't know if you've seen it, they've updated their settings and brought in controls that you can now set a time limit for how long you're scrolling and have reminders if you've been on there too long, and you can choose how long it is.
Yeah, I think mine's about an hour. And we were talking about this before when I was getting my hair done. I think I did reach that limit, but I was sitting down for a very long time. So what else was I meant to do?
I view it as watching TV.
Yeah, me too.
I view it as watching TV. So if I'm sat on the sofa in the evening and I would just be watching, I'll say TV because I won't mention which streaming services, because I have them all.
Yeah.
But if I choose to watch TikTok instead, that's on me. And it's just my version of TV, because sometimes I'm not in the mood to watch a whole thing, but I don't mind scrolling through. And also at the same time, I'm going, oh, I love that sound. I'll save that to do a video with later. Oh my God, that dance is really simple. I can do that one.
Yeah.
That video for later. Oh, let me stitch this. So it's working without working, because people go, how do you get all these ideas? And I'm like, you've not spent a lot of time on TikTok if you don't realize how I'm getting all these ideas.
Yeah, there's so much content and so much potential. And I have personally learned so much from there, even from a kind of a digital marketing perspective. There's lots of people giving tips and tricks on there that I couldn't get in such a short amount of time anywhere else. So I appreciate that.
There are things that I see people do with Excel spreadsheets. I'm like, you can do that with a spreadsheet?
Yeah, save that video for later.
I learn so much. I've got menu ideas from it. I've got snack ideas. I've got how they do math now, because obviously maths changes at least every 10 years. So when my nephew now has questions on math homework and he's like, we do it a different way, Auntie Bobby. I'm like, don't worry, I've got you, kids. I learned it on TikTok so that I know I can help you with your math homework.
Yeah. I think it's just that concept of just moving or just changing your mind from what you once perceived something as. Don't just push it aside and think it like, oh, it's not for me or something like that. Like I mentioned previously, I had an old editor who used to say that Twitter was a fad. And that it was not useful in terms of like using it to promote content and stuff like that. And now it's, a very big part of pushing yourself out there, even as like a magazine or something. So I think that just goes to show how perceptions can change and you need to move with the times kind of thing.
But also find what you vibe with. I spend a lot of time with LinkedIn and TikTok. I have an Instagram, I have a Facebook, I have a Twitter. I am on them more so people tag me and stuff, because there's a lot of stuff I do. People go on Twitter, especially in financial services, and I'm like, oh, thank you for tagging me. Thank you for the likes.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to engage with this, but it's I've got them, but there's also only so much time in a day. So I'm going to put my time on the platforms that I rank the highest in Robyn world.
Yeah.
And that is LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is so good, not only for the financial services stuff that I do, but also Chamber of Commerce stuff. Everything is there, and I can then deal with local businesses and national businesses. So that's that. And then TikTok for, well, one, video editing, and two, I'm now starting to see more and more financial advisors starting to use it, giving tips, tricks, giving information, and I'm loving seeing it.
Yeah.
Because that is where people are. We need to take the taboo out of financial advice. We need to stop assuming it's a certain age bracket we need to be talking to, and we need to be educating people from their teens.
Yeah.
So that it's a non-negotiable. It's a, when I do this, when I get a job, when I have an income protect, I'm going to do it. But we can only do that if we start talking to them in the places where they are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I think back to when I was younger, maybe even before I started working in financial journalism, I had no idea that a financial advisor was a thing. So I think it is important to make people aware, because I've seen a lot of people having conversations about how are we going to get, the next generation of advisors if they have no idea this career exists. So from your point of view, what do you think needs to be done for people either to attract the younger clients or for people to be attracted to the career path?
I think they just need to understand the full scope of it, because yes, it's financial advice. That is the two words that describe it, and it does describe it very well. But they need to also understand it's context. It's what I always talk about. It's going, right, this decision you make at this juncture for this client will help them this much when this happens. You will see it. You will be able to have an impact on their lives. You might give them the reality check that helps them get out of debt.
Yeah.
You might give them the reality check that means they actually finish saving for their first home, that they actually do protect their income. But it's also being able to talk to people and encourage more into it. So you can be a role model. You can be a shining star. You can be the best of a generation. Because I still like to consider myself part of the young guns.
You are.
But I'm 34. So in my head, I'm
30. So in my mind, being in your 30s is still young.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, probably for me as well, because in the words of my stepmom, I've still got a silly haircut. Yeah. But like I said, I started in this industry when I was 17.
Yeah.
So I have been here for half of my life. This has been my world, and I still love it. And we need to pass on this enthusiasm and show them that, yes, it's a career. You can do this for your entire life if you want to.
Yeah.
If not, it's a great building block for other things you want to do, because you get so many skills working in financial services. You get people skills, you get stakeholder management, you get processes, you get compliance, like all of it. You get every single skill you could ever need for any kind of job, really, other than specialist qualifications. So it's an amazing foundation, or it's a career, or it's a mix of both. But you can also then go into financial journalism. You could go to social media. You could go into the marketing aspect. You could go into the actuarial aspect. There are so many parts to it that they don't realise. Saying go be a financial advisor, all right, but saying come and join financial services is probably the message we might need to be talking about, because there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
It's the people that create the systems that we all use.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. Not just thinking about it in one scope, but thinking about the whole possibilities and ranges of paths that you can take, I think, is important, especially when you're so young, because I've always thought back that it was crazy that at 18, I was basically picking out what I thought I would be doing for the rest of my life. But having if I was told something like, oh, be in financial services where these options are there for you, and there are a variety of options. If you're someone who's more logical and numbers based, go down this path. If you're someone who enjoys creativity and creating, someone who likes to be on TikTok or something like that, maybe, you know, the marketing side is your path to go down. So I think, yeah, that would have been, if I had been aware at 18, I probably would have been like, yeah, that sounds fantastic. The world is my oyster, basically.
Yeah, you can change everything. I recently spoke to the year 10 class of the secondary school where I'm a governor. So I've got about 200 14-year-olds in the room. And I said to them, I said, look, you don't have to know right now what you want to do. And what you think right now will probably change. I think when I was 14, I still had in my head I was going to be a teacher. Of secondary school, I was very brave. My mum was going to go. Yeah, my mum thought I was going to go into the army.
Okay,
probably still makes sense. But when I got into sixth form, that's when I went, because I was annoyingly academic. I didn't have to study or do anything really for my GCSEs. I was that person.
Away.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
But we got to A levels and I was like, do I really want to go to university, have a load of debt at the end of it? And yeah, it's a great experience, but being the second child, I think I had a bit more freedom anyway.
I was the first child. I did not have that.
Yeah. So. There's a whole thing. We keep talking about it recently because my sister's now got 2 kids. So we're talking about it a lot. Second child syndrome is such a thing. Yeah, it is. And when I got to that decision, I was like, I just want to go to work. I want to go out into the real world now. I'm ready for the real world now. And then I knew financial services and that's how I ended up there. But I think like you, if I'd have understood all the different career paths, I would have made that decision based on financial services, not just based on, oh, I grew up around bank branches, I know how to count money.
Yeah. You would have thought there's a path here. There's paths, not just one. There's different ways you can go.
That's the thing. I already had that with the bank. It was, well, you can stay in customer services, you can go into banking advice, mortgage advice, financial advice, you can go into management, you can go into some of the other, like there was a variety of roles and career paths within there that I could do. And I did like being so young and having those options. I also now appreciate all the skill sets it gave me. Because I think it massively helped me promote my level of EQ, emotional intelligence, because having to deal with such a variety of people in such a variety of branches, because I was the person that would travel to different branches to cover. So I learned a lot just about people. Yeah. And that's what I think has put me in good stead for what I do now. But I wouldn't have had that had I gone and done something else.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly where you're meant to be. And I guess one of my final questions, because we've had such a great conversation, is what advice would you give to someone who's aspiring to get into financial services, into financial advice? What would you tell them to kind of keep them going, keep them motivated?
You have to start at the bottom. There's no shortcuts in this industry. If you want to be in it, be successful and be great at it, you have to fully understand everything. And this is the way I've always taught, and this is the way I always will. It's, you have to earn your stripes. You have to learn everything, understand why everything happens, because especially when you're dealing with the compliance that we deal with and the data protection and financial crime and everything we have to deal with, if you don't understand the reason behind the rules that are made, you're not going to stick to them, you're not going to follow them, and you're not going to take care of your clients as well as you should. So be willing to start at the bottom, be willing to work, but you'll reap the rewards later. And also just be yourself. It doesn't matter who that person is, but just be you. You will find your tribe, you will find your people, and they may not be the ones you're always surrounded with, and that's okay. But you will find them.
No, that's really strong, and I think applicable to everything, not just kind of financial advice necessarily. But I want to thank you so much for taking this time out to talk to me, Robyn, and I hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did.
I've had a great time. I could stay here all day.
Yeah, I know. But we should wrap up. So thank you for talking to me, and
thank you for listening to In Conversation With. We do hope that you enjoyed it. Please do keep up to date with all our new releases via Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcasts from. You can also keep up to date with all our new content published on the Money Marketing website, as well as our print edition Money Marketing magazine. So make sure to subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next time.